Good morning, my dear friends. Today we are going to learn about employee empowerment practices for ourselves. A comparative study of SBI and ICICI Bank in the Rayalaseema region. This is Dr. Rayalaseema, Assistant Professor, Department of Management Studies, College of Engineering and Technology, Kurnool. And come to our study. Now, today we are going to know about how employee empowerment practices are making an impact on SBI and ICICI Bank practices. Today's increasing complex and volatile business environment characterized by liberalization, privatization, and globalization. The global foray too ensured that managing would not be the same again as we are in 21st century. Competitiveness in the universal marketplace gives the ultimate challenges to the policymakers, business leaders, and entrepreneurs in any industry, including banking. Challenges such as fluctuating environment, sophisticated technology, the need for quick decision making, and the importance of frequent changes have established the need among the organization to change their traditional management practices into democratic structures that offer employees greater autonomy, confidence, and freedom to make decisions. When come to today's study, there are only few studies carried out on employee empowerment practices in bank sector, but there is no specific study on employee empowerment practices for optional effectiveness. Hence, in order to fulfill the gap, the present study has been undertaken. It is an attempt to offer new insight for formulating HR strategies, especially in the areas of employee empowerment in banks. Now, when come to need and significance of the study, Indian bank sector emerged from its strong global financial turmoil and proved its mettle when the developed economies were shaking. Today's unstable public and private sector required management to seek out, evaluate, and embrace new planning, organizational, and operating techniques to remain in a track pursuit of their long-term goals. The need for employee empowerment gained great importance in service-oriented institutions like banks. When it comes to scope of the study, there is a significant correlation between employee empowerment practices and its outcomes, like its impact on organizational effectiveness. The like components of the empowerment practices like autonomy, communication, training, reward, and organizational culture completely made an impact on employees' behavior, like development-oriented behavior, which leads to organizational effectiveness like high productivity from the employees, quality of performance, employee efficiency, and work motivation and job satisfaction. Objectives of the study: to study the impact of employee autonomy on organizational effectiveness in select banks, with SBI and ICICI Bank, to analyze the role of communication on organizational effectiveness in SBI and ICICI Bank, to examine the effect of employee training and its impact on organizational effectiveness in SBI and ICICI Bank, to identify the role of employee rewards on organizational effectiveness in SBI and ICICI Bank, and to critically evaluate the effect of organizational culture on organizational effectiveness in select banks, to suggest measures for sample organizations based on the study results. Hypothesis: there is significant relation between two banks regarding the role of employee autonomy. There is significant difference between two banks regarding communication system. There is significant difference between two banks regarding the training and development practices. There is significant difference between the two banks regarding the reward system. There is significant difference between two banks regarding the outer culture. When it comes to research study, the present study is an empirical research in nature. The descriptive research procedure is also used for describing the current scenario in SBI and ICICI Bank. Sources of data. For the present study, the data has been gathered from both primary and secondary sources. The primary data has been gathered by administering a structured questionnaire from the employees of non-executive level, like clerical cadre, assistant, senior assistant, special assistant, and senior special assistant of public and private sector banks with SBI and ICICI Bank. The secondary data have been gathered from internet, books, research articles, previous research reports, survey reports, newsletters, journals, magazines, and etc. Sample size and design. As on March 2014, altogether there are 1864 non-executive employees on the rolls working in 228 branches of SBI and ICICI Bank in Rayalaseema region of Andhra Pradesh. For the purpose of present study, all the branches of two banks and all the non-executive level of employees were selected. For the collection of primary data, a structured questionnaire was designed and mailed to all the non-executive employees. 721 questionnaires were received. It is unfortunate to state that only 397 received questionnaires were duly filled in all respects from respondents of the both banks. Hence, all 397 non-executives were purposefully selected and their responses were the form basis for analysis, interpretation and empirical findings of the study. This table shows that the total sample size of non-executive level employees from both the banks. From State Bank of India, employee strength is 1664, whereas the number of respondents 247. From ICICI Bank, the total employee strength is 200 in Rayalaseema region, whereas the 150 is the number of respondents for primary data. This measurement, this employee empowerment parameter table, which shows what are the parameters that we have taken to prepare a questionnaire to collect the data from the respondents. The dependent variable is organizational effectiveness, where the independent variable is autonomy, communication, training, reward, and organizational culture of the organizations. Statistical tools and techniques. The present study is a qualitative analysis of responses and results based on the observations. The gathered data is analyzed and interpreted by using frequencies, weighted averages, correlation coefficient analysis, and independent t-test with help of Microsoft Office Excel software and also statistical package for social sciences SPSS 20th version. Reliability test also used for ensuring the validity of the primary data. Limitations of this work. This research is limited to SBI and ICICI Bank in Rayalaseema region of Andhra Pradesh. The present study is confined to only non-executive level of employees. The results of the research cannot be generalized to other commercial banks or other category banks like foreign, regional, urban, and rural cooperatives. The accuracy of given information may ought to change from time, workplace, and individual factors. This is demographic details of the SBI and ICICI Bank non-executive level of employees, whereas age, education qualification, marital status, and job experience have been in detail shown. This job autonomy and its outcomes on employee. Here, the table 4.22 shows the correlation coefficient between job autonomy and its effect on employee effectiveness. There is a correlation between the employee effectiveness and job autonomy on 0.056 significance level. There is a table which shows job autonomy differences between SBI and ICICI Bank. Here, SBI main is 2.22, where ICICI Bank 2.72, which shows the table shows the employee communication and its results in SBI and ICICI Bank. The table shows the results and the data analysis of correlation coefficient between communication and its impact on employee performance quality. There is a significant relation between communication and performance of the employees, whereas 0.057 significance level with the level of 0.01 level. This table shows the communication difference between SBI and ICICI Bank. This table 5.16 shows employee training and its outcomes, and this table 5.17 shows correlation coefficient between employee training and productivity. This table 5.18 shows employee training differences between SBI and ICICI Bank. Here SBI mean is 4.36, whereas ICICI Bank mean is 4.08. This table 5.33 shows employee reward and its impact in employee performance. This table 5.34 shows correlation coefficient between employee rewards and work motivation. Here 0.031 level is a Pearson correlation between employee rewards and work motivation. This table shows employee reward differences between SBI and ICICI Bank. Here SBI 3.23, whereas ICICI Bank 3.74. So this table shows organizational culture and its results. This table shows correlation coefficient between organizational culture and employee job satisfaction. This table shows organizational culture differences between SBI and ICICI Bank. SBI is 4.02, whereas ICICI Bank is 4.16. Conclusion: the present study confirms that there is significant relation among the employee empowerment practices and organizational effectiveness. In current scenario, both the banks are practicing employee empowerment practices, but prescribed area each of them are very effective. Here, ICICI Bank is practicing better autonomy practices, where SBI is ahead in preparing better communication practices, better communication and training. While in terms of reward and organizational culture, ICICI Bank is ahead compared to SBI.